Hey, everybody, welcome to If You Don't Like That. We wrap up the week here on this Friday. What a freaking hockey game. I mean, seriously, what a freaking hockey game with Edmonton and Florida. Unbelievable. Edmonton scores to tie the game with 18 seconds left, and they're going to go to overtime 4-4. Incredible. Brad Marchand put Florida on top with a shorthanded goal with a little more than 8 minutes left to go. And then Edmonton pouring it on 4-4, going into sudden death. Freaking awesome. Incredible. All right, a couple of things I want to talk about today as we wrap up the week. First of all, thanks for being with us. I appreciate that. It's always good to have you on here. If you don't like that, let me hit the link for you. It's right there. You can give me a call. You got the QR code above my shoulder here in South Florida, and you can give me a call. Love to be able to talk with you as they resurface the ice and get ready for sudden death for the second game in a row. So when you talk about the NBA Finals and so many in Northern California and Sacramento, I see a lot of comments from Kings fans that they want Indiana to lose because of Tyrese Haliburton, and I don't really understand that. The guy loved Sacramento, wanted to stay in Sacramento, wanted to end his career in Sacramento, walked out with a lot of class, and now all of a sudden Kings fans want him to lose. He didn't make the trade. He didn't ask to be traded. He didn't want to leave. Why? Like, why would you want the guy to lose? It's not going to make the deal any better or any worse for Sacramento. It doesn't change anything. It might look bad or look worse. It already looks bad. But, I mean, everyone loved him. Everyone. I've never heard of anyone in Sacramento that didn't have high regard for Tyrese Haliburton. I mean that. I don't understand that. I would think you'd want the guy to have success because he was a class act. What did he do that you didn't like? You know? So as Karen says, I don't hold a grudge for Ty. I don't see why anyone would hold a grudge for him. You can hold a grudge for the Kings front office. But, you know, Manuel says can't stand the city of OKC. Have you been there? So game 2 coming up on Sunday. We'll love the post-game show. We'll have it with Rhino in Sacktown, your phone calls right after game 2 coming up on Sunday. I can't believe I'm doing a show again while we're getting ready for overtime in the NHL. That'll be 2 nights in a row or 2 games in a row. What a freaking game. Joe says haters will hate. Very true. But there's no reason to hate him. What did he do? He was everything you'd want in a king. Wanted to be there, loved the city. Everyone that met him really loved him. Most people don't want Haliburton to win because the trade will haunt the Kings if he wins the chip. Well, I don't think it matters one way or the other. You know? I don't think it matters. I mean, I think that the vast majority of people, a high percentage, if they could go back and make the trade all over again, would not have made the trade, and they would have kept Haliburton, and they would have figured out a way to trade Fox. Correct? Right? Isn't that what the majority of people would do if they could go back in time? Here's something else I wanted to talk about. So there's been a lot of talk about game 1 from a television perspective. And I found it very interesting to see a headline that popped up on my feed on X about game one of the NBA Finals. Because I mentioned this last week. By the way, a game one viewership down nearly 20%. All right. So a close game goes down to the last shot. Game drops by 20%. Now think about that. That's a bad start for ESPN and ABC. But Awful Announcing had a story that game one of the finals just seemed like a weeknight game in the month of January because of how they presented it. And they talked about no national anthem, no starting lineups. There's no oomph into it, right? There's no excitement leading up to tip-off. I can't speak for the pregame and all of that because I don't watch it. I won't watch it. I have no interest in watching any of that nonsense before the game. They're not telling me anything I don't already know. So I don't know about you, but I'm not watching it. Okay? I'm not watching it. I told you on a rant earlier this week that I thought the difference between Mark Jackson and Jeff Van Gundy and Reggie Miller and Stan Van Gundy to Doris Burke and Richard Jefferson was night and day. So I think they made a horrendous error of judgment by putting Richard Jefferson and Doris Burke next to Mike Breen in the NBA Finals and throughout the year. I think it's terrible. Well, I shouldn't say it's terrible. It's not terrible, but it's not what I expect from an elite games of this magnitude. So I look at the way the game's being presented, and I made this comment after the game last night with Rhino. I said, to me, it was a blasé game. It didn't have a championship feel to me. I mentioned that. And then I saw the story come out, and I was like, yeah, it did kind of seem like a weeknight game in January. And Richard Jefferson has no business being on this platform. None. He doesn't have a good voice. He's a local guy. That's what he really would be. Like if he were your local analyst, you'd be happy with him. Network, NBA Finals, really? Tim Legler would be much better than him. Much better. I don't understand the executives at ESPN and ABC to think that Richard Jefferson deserves that seat at the NBA Finals. It's stupid. And I'm very, very, very good friends with Mike Breen. I was just texting with him yesterday before game one. You know, Mike and I are very close. And I didn't tell Mike this because Mike probably already knows, and Mike wouldn't tell me anyway. Mike can't enjoy going from Mark Jackson and Jeff Van Gundy to Richard Jefferson and Doris Burke. Come on. Stop it, would you please? I mean, come on. Even Grant Hill, yeah. But Grant Hill works for the other network. But yes, very true. Just not very good. You know? Not very good. And I think it also hurts Mike Breen, to be honest with you, because Mike's a tremendous announcer. But I think that Mike, his role's even diminished because Mike's sense of humor, which is great, he can't do that with Burke and Jefferson like you could with Van Gundy and Jackson. Just can't. They had great rapport. And I saw Richard Jefferson's excuse. Well, they've only been together a short period of time. Jackson and Van Gundy were together for multiple years. Nonsense. You either have it or you don't. Okay? You either have it or you don't. Richard Jefferson and Doris Burke could stay together for years with Mike Breen. They're never going to be the A team of the individuals that I just mentioned. They're just not. Plain and simple. They're not. So I want to get your opinion on that as we roll right along here to wrap up the week on a Friday night. I'm not going to go super long. Wanted to just say hello. I wanted to thank you for everything and let you know that on Sunday I'll be doing the post-game show with Rhino in Sacktown. We invite your phone calls coming up on Friday. We can talk about a big, big game, too, for Oklahoma City. I don't guarantee anything, but I feel pretty strongly that Oklahoma City is going to win that game based on everything that's happened in the postseason. I would be very surprised if we don't see the A version of Oklahoma City. I thought we saw the B minus C plus version of Oklahoma City. And I don't think we saw the A version of Indiana either. So, I understand that. I think both teams will play better, but I think that Oklahoma City will prevail. We'll even up this series and go back to Indianapolis with a best of 5 on the table, and Indiana going home to see if they can get the job done on home court. So those are a couple of things I wanted to mention today. As I said, I'm not going to go very long. We've got the pitiful A's in Sacramento. They actually won a game last night. They ought to have a parade in West Sacramento that the A's finally won a freaking game. How bad are they? Seriously. You got Major League Baseball in Sacramento, which is good for a very brief period of time. You do get a chance to go out there if you want, see your favorite teams. But look at the A's. They're 24-40. Thank goodness for the Chicago White Sox. And the other good news is they're playing the Orioles this weekend, and they're almost as bad. They're almost as bad. I saw the game's tied in the 5th at 4-4. Who the hell's going out to watch the Orioles and the A's play? Seriously. You're going out to watch the Orioles and the A's play? Are you there? Are you watching the game and watching my show at the same time? Can't imagine who's going out and watching that. I really can't. Brutal. Brutal. Absolutely brutal. So those are some of the things I wanted to talk about. Here we are in June. You don't even get excited for the NBA draft if you're a Kings fan because you don't have a first-round pick. I doubt that they're going to make a trade that would acquire a first-round pick. I don't think that's going to happen. It's not likely. So even the draft is kind of blasé. Kingston wants to know, hello, sir. Just wondering, when is Vivek going to stay in his lane and let the people he hires run the team? Never happening. So don't think it's going to happen because it won't happen. It's just not going to happen. If that's what you're hoping for, not going to happen. He thinks he knows more than everybody else. And he's a meddler. And it's his personality. And as much as I'd like to say, oh, it's not going to happen, it's going to continue to happen. So if you think that he's going to, as you put it, stay in his lane, he doesn't have a lane. He doesn't have a lane. And for that reason, don't count on it. All right? Says Brooklyn has 10 first-round picks. They've got a lot. Oklahoma City has a lot. What's a first-round pick going to do for you, though? If you don't take the right player, I would rather take a player that I already know can play rather than a draft pick. Draft picks to me they're only good if you take the right player. Like Oklahoma City, they didn't take Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. They acquired him in a trade, but he fell way, way in the first round, relatively speaking. Right? So, what's a draft pick going to do for you if you take Marvin Bagley? What's a draft pick going to do for you if you're Phoenix and you take Josh Jackson? What's a draft pick going to do for you if you're Philadelphia and you trade up to get the number 1 pick and take Markelle Fultz? What's that going to do for you? Right? Seriously. So what? So you had a first-round pick, big deal. What did it get you? Nothing. Got you nothing. Nothing. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, taken 11th in the draft. that Luka Doncic had. And Jerry Reynolds was on with Rhino on Tuesday. And he said if he were starting a team right now, he would take SGA over Luka Doncic. Think about that for a minute. You know, if you look back at that draft, you had DeAndre Ayton number one. He wouldn't go number one. Right? You think DeAndre Ayton would go number one? Bagley number two. Jackson number four. Trae Young was basically three. I mean, Atlanta took Luka three, and they already had a trade worked out. Trae officially taken five. Look at Colin Sexton. He was taken 8th in that draft. Mikal Bridges taken 10th in that draft. Michael Porter Jr., 14th. Dante DiVincenzo, 17th. I mean, Anthony Simons, 24. Do you see where Jalen Brunson went in that draft? Jalen Brunson went 33rd in that draft, second round. Mitchell Robinson, 36th. If that draft were held all over again, right? SGA or Luka would be 1. The other would be 2. Jalen Brunson would be 3, right? Correct? Like, do I think Brunson would be taken over Luka? No, I don't think so. Do I think he would be taken over SGA now that we have 7 years of our eyes watching all of this? I don't think so. But I can guarantee you this. DeAndre Ayton wouldn't be anywhere near the top. Marvin Bagley wouldn't even be a first-round pick. Right? I mean, think about all the mistakes that are made in the draft all the time. All the freaking time. Happens all the time. All right, so coming up on Sunday, we are going to have a post-game show. I think it's going to be 1-1 when I come on again on Sunday night with Rhino. Overtime underway in Edmonton. It is 4-4. All right, let's end the show by getting to a call right here with Michael. Michael, you'll take us home for the weekend. Let me get you on here on a double screen.
How are you doing, Grant?
How are you?
I'm doing good. I thought I think the Pacers, again, they did what they did all postseason. Come from behind and win. This team of the Pacers do remind me of the 2011 Mavericks. They never give up till it's over. What are you seeing?
Yeah, no, they don't. They're never out of a game. They don't ever feel like they're out of a game, and they've proven that this year in the playoffs. They don't ever feel like
Rick Carlisle did it. Rick Carlisle.
Yeah.
It was carried by Rick Carlisle. What are you seeing this team between the 2011 Mavs and this one? What's so different about this team?
I can't compare different eras. I don't like comparing different eras. I think it's too difficult, and just it's too different. But I do know this: wherever Rick Carlisle's gone, he's been a winner. He's won 50 games with different franchises. Won 50 games in Detroit, 50 games in Dallas, 50 games with the Pacers. I mean, the guy's the real freaking deal.
Three teams. That's 3 teams he won. He is a great coach. I think Oklahoma will take game 2, but this is a tough one. I wouldn't be actually shocked if Pacers win the finals. If they actually steal one more.
Yeah, I think they're going to have to win another game in Oklahoma City to win this series. OKC is a great road team, not a good team. They're a great road team, and I believe they'll win a game in Indiana. So I'm with you. I think in order for the Pacers to win this series, they're going to have to win another game in Oklahoma City. I would agree with that.
Probably. But we've seen what happened. What happened in Cleveland? They won 2 games. They stole 2 games, right? And then they did it in New York. Same thing.
Yeah, no, I mean that's why they're in the finals. You can't just get to the finals without winning games on the road.
There's a reason.
Hey, you're exactly right. Hey, you have a good weekend, all right?
You too, Grant.
Take care. Man. Appreciate it. All right, so coming up on Sunday, right back here, all right? Right back here after the game, Rhino joins me. Have a good weekend, everybody. You take care. Bye-bye now.